today's sermon is The Pursuit of a Dream. Did you recognize the song? Nobody else would. Jeff liked the sound, and that's from 1986. That's nobody knew. That was Michael W. Smith, and the song is The Pursuit of a Dream. All right, that's where I got. Well, actually, I added the song to the intermission time there because it fit the sermon I'm teaching today. Pursuit of a Dream. Good song. I mean, he had a good sound back then. Lamu, Rocket Town. These are all classics that y'all have never heard, and man, y'all missed out. Y'all missed out. Good stuff. Really good stuff. The Pursuit of a Dream. Now, I usually cringe. Some of y'all know this already. I usually cringe when I see signs at churches. I'm not knocking them, but if you're trying to reach the public with those things, you're scaring them away. I mean, if it makes me cringe, I can imagine what it makes. And Forrest had mentioned, what's one, Christ, what's it?
Oh, God hears an email.
God what?
God hears an email.
God hears me email, like email on me, get on your knees.
Oh, I mean, I've got a whole video. It's called Church Signs.
No, you got the same one.
Yeah, I have to see that.
Anyway, but this morning there was one, and the thing is, they weren't really trying to say anything really intelligent, but it was really smart. And it really fit my sermon. And I told somebody that I was almost going to stop and say, hey, I think I'm supposed to preach a sermon here today. Seriously. And this is what it said: without resolve, a resolution is just a wish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just a great statement of truth. Not knowing the pursuit of a dream. Without resolve, okay? You know, a dream that you have, a vision God's given you for your life, things you want to see happen in your life, your family, your marriage. Without resolve, any commitment you make to God, any commitment you make to change, any commitment we make to make a difference, any commitment we make to read our Bibles, pray, without that resolve, and most of us lack in that area. I mean, I'm talking for myself here, okay? I lack in that area. Yeah. Without resolve. The song was Spirit Lead Me from last week and this week, and I put that in because Shelly had mentioned it, but I was going to have it in anyway. Spirit Lead Me. I'm going to tell you what we're trying to do as a church, and so a lot of people think I'm crazy, and I'm okay with that.
What about the ones of us that know you are?
Yeah, but there's a crazy that's bad and a crazy that's good. Thank you, Forrest. That's the only way I know how to do what we're doing. Okay? You guys, you understand what I'm telling you? And if I didn't have the resolve to know that I'm following something that God showed me, that God is laying out each step of the way. Man, you know, if I look at, you know, the world, I listen to voices, and there's always voices that are helping you, encouraging you, teaching you, helping you see what you can't see. The issue is looking at those voices and determining which are from God, which are real, which are from the enemy, which come from a good source, a good person, but in their own, maybe even in their own life, you know, their advice, their thoughts, their wisdom, you know, it cannot, not that it's attacking, but it can lead you to go down the wrong road. So the resolve has got to be, it's the pursuit of a dream. Because God's got a dream, I call it a dream, a vision, a purpose for our lives. Your life, my life, us together. And so that's where this sermon comes from. Now, wear this shirt again. I promise you I'm not going to keep wearing it after this week. I know how much you love my custom shirt. It was the playoffs. It was all that. So now I'll go back to normal attire. More normal attire. I can't promise every week. But a lot of you know that Clemson won the national championship this week. Okay. Some people saw a football game. If you saw a football game, you really missed what God was doing. Because there was so much going on in what they just went through. The events that happened. Things behind the scene. The storylines. If all you see is you beat Alabama, That might be a good story if you love Clemson. It might be a great story if you hate Alabama. But if you don't look deeper, there's a whole lot going on. And I want to share you some of those things that went on, okay? A little bit deeper, connect a few dots, because it might look like your life, my life. It might look like ours as a church, okay? I want to show you some things. And let me get this thing working here and see if it works.
Is it on?
It is now. The green light, come on. All right, sure, go ahead and hit that light, sir. This, I'm going to start with, is Dabo's post-game comments as soon as the game was over on the field. Listen to everything, because everything you'll hear it again. You will hear it again.
Chris, thank you very much. Dabo, there are a few coaches in any sport who show more joy than you do. How do you describe the joy of the moment? Well, that's been my word all year, and I just try to be intentional with that. And for me personally, joy comes from focusing on Jesus, others, and yourself. And man, I mean, you know, very few people. There's so many great coaches that are so deserving of a moment like this to never get the chance to experience it, and to get to do it once and now to get to do it again. You know, it's a blessing, and it's just simply the grace of the good Lord to allow us to experience something like this. And I'm so happy for our team, our fans, our administration, our former players that love the ball, and you know, there ain't never been a 15-0 team, and I know we're not supposed to be here. We're this little old Clemson, and I'm not supposed to be here, but we are, and I am. And how about the Tigers, man? I'm so proud of our guys, these seniors. We beat Notre Dame and Alabama. We left no doubt, and we walk off this field tonight as the first 15-0 team in college football history. And all the credit, all the glory goes to the good Lord, number one. And number two, to these young people. When you get a young group of people that believe, are passionate, they love each other, they sacrifice, they're committed to a singleness of purpose, you better look out, great things can happen, and that's what you saw tonight. After 4 games, you made a decision. You chose Trevor Lawrence to become your quarterback. What did you see then that came true tonight, Dabo? Well, I mean, he was the best player, you know, and that's not a knock against Kelly Bryant. I love Kelly Bryant, and what a great player he is. But my job is to make decisions that put the team in the best possible path to win. And after 4 games, he was the best player. And so I think you saw that. And in fact, I think when I got here, Holly's first question to me when I got here was, you know, hey, what are you going to do to us? Never lost a game. And I said, well, I don't think Trevor has either. So I'm just going to work on my guy here and see if we can walk off this field and keep our guy undefeated. And I'm just, you know, we've been a little, but we never broke. We punched back. You know, this group had the eye of the tiger tonight, man. And listen, Alabama, this is the most amazing champion ever, the University of Alabama, and what they've done, and Coach Saban. And for our guys to come out here tonight and perform like they did, you know, it's just our staff. We have an amazing plan. We had a great week. And I felt like we had the better team, and I felt like that if we could get a couple of breaks, we could pull away. And the couple of turnovers and the big plays, I said coming in yesterday to you guys, big plays and turnovers. You win those 2 things, you win 98% of the time, and we won it in a big way tonight. You've been saying for a long time that Alabama has been driving the bus in this one. They've been in bus 1, bus 2, bus 3. Listen, we drove the Roy bus all the way out here to wherever the heck California we are, right? To play a football game in a beautiful stadium, in a beautiful place. And who's driving now? Proud members of the Roy bus. So for all the other teams out there on that bus, hey, listen, I hope that you get a little hope from us, a little inspiration that, hey, if we can do it, anybody can do it. And I mean that. Listen, if a guy like me, I said this 2 years ago. I mean, you can't write a Hollywood script like this. Only God can do this. And that's a fact. And people may think I'm crazy or quack or whatever, but only God can orchestrate this. You can't, no Hollywood producer can write it. But I'm just telling you, if I can do it, If these Clemson Tigers can do it, hey, anybody can do it if you have a belief in yourself and what you're doing, and you surround yourself with a bunch of great young people that are passionate about winning. And tonight, we conquered a mountain that ain't ever been conquered. The flag's on the top, and man, I can't wait to celebrate. I can't wait. Congratulations, Dabo. Do it with your team. Well, thank you. God bless everybody.
Boy, he said so much that most people miss because you don't know the whole story, but I'm not going to get into the whole story. Dabo, for Dabo, it is about family. It is about heart, courage. It's about the relationships, but it's also about the work, you know. And the first words out of his mouth, Jesus. God. Last words out of his mouth, God. You know, I love that. And you know what thing is, he doesn't speak boldly. In the middle of his speech here, he made reference to what, Colossians 3:23-24. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. If there is an area that most of us fell in, that's it. Me too. Now, what makes Dabo's speech there powerful is what we didn't know. All right, Drew, get it. Some of us did. Most of us didn't. And this guy here is going to tell you all about it.
Well, good afternoon, guys. Steve Kistler here. I'm sure you have to be living in a cave somewhere this week not to know what took place on Monday evening with Clemson University's amazing victory over the Alabama Crimson Tide, and especially what took place at the end of the game with Coach Dabo Swinney's giving glory to God, and praising the name of his Savior Jesus Christ, and talking about the fact that God had a will for his life and that God has a will for everybody's life across the United States, literally, and around the world. It just literally has lit up the entire United States and portions of the world, his expression of faith. What you may not know is that leading up to the game on Monday evening, there had been a very stern threat issued by the Freedom from Religion Foundation calling for the firing of Coach Swinney and an unequivocal end of all Christian instruction of football players at Clemson, whether it be from coaches or whether it be from a chaplain, and that this attempt on the part of the Freedom from Religion Foundation, in their opinion, to evangelize athletes or to disciple them, not a word that Freedom from Religion used, but anyway, all religious or Christian instruction was to cease. Going into the game on Monday evening, not only did Coach Swinney know that that threat had been issued, that call for his firing had occurred, but the administration at Clemson knew the same thing. So imagine this. All throughout the game, that threat is hanging out there. At the end of the game, after this amazing victory, Coach Swinney has a choice. Do I say anything? Do I not? Well, he chose to do not only the courageous thing, but the right thing for a Christian, and stand up and praise the God of heaven, praise his Savior Jesus Christ, give glory to no one but to God. And not only did he do it, but the administration stood with him in his doing it. In fact, the administration stood with Coach Swinney leading up to Monday night because they knew this call had been issued as well. And they just basically ignored it because they love their coach. They love what's going on of the spiritual nature there at Clemson University among the football team. So may I say this to Coach Swinney? Wow. Courageous faith. Keep it up. To the administration at Clemson, keep it up as well. And you have gained a much bigger supporter here in the form of Dave Kistler because of what happened on Monday evening, as you should have support from people all over the United States of America. This is the way every Christian should respond every day of their life in courageous expression of their love for their Savior and giving glory to God. So, Clemson, keep it up.
Freedom from Religion Foundation, they've tried, that's their third attempt to come after Clemson, third or fourth attempt to come after Coach Dabo. This ain't the first run in with them, for them, but here's the deal. They went around to cities all over the nation, small cities that fly the American flag, fly, put Easter manger scenes up. And they sue these cities. Now these are little towns that don't have money to fight them in court. And they make them bow. By bullying, they make them bow. By the Constitution, the city has every right to stand on its, to do these things. Dabo has the right to freedom of expression. You don't lose your freedom of expression because you walk into the schoolhouse or you walk into work or whatever. So they're trying to control, because they don't want that testimony. They don't want that word out there. And so most people bow. Many colleges have issued letters of reprimand to their coaches for praying, players reporting to God when they score a touchdown, or mentioning God. And what these places have, and they have, wow. And that's what I love. I love it when people are bold and stand for what they believe in. And Mark 8:38, if anyone is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man will be ashamed of them when he comes in his Father's glory with the holy angels. Now, Dabo, go baby. Y'all know when I left Mary Black, it was over being a Christian. I thought you want to fire me. And the thing is, what I did was manipulated. It wasn't even like I was forced it. But it is what it is. The devil, there are a lot of voices of the enemy out there, okay? And they are from the enemy. And then there's other voices in the world. I kind of mentioned it in the beginning, all right? Sometimes people just misunderstand you, and you're just trying to be good to them. Then there's people that are trying to do you over, like you talked about, at the gas station. There's all these voices that maybe are your family and friends, your loved ones, people that you believe in, that believe in you. And sometimes they say things that you make you scratch your head, like, where did that come from? A lot of times the enemy will use good people in situations when we respond out of the flesh or out of emotion. And that's why it's so, you have to be real careful not to do that. Because in one minute you can be the voice of God, and the next minute you can be the voice of the enemy. And I'm going to show you that here. Matthew 16, 13, 17. Miriam, do you read it for me?
When Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do the people say the Son of Man is?" They replied, "Some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, still others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. But what about you?" he asked. "Who do you say I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." Jesus replied, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for this was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven."
Man, look at that. Look at that. That's my boy there. Huh? That's my boy. I'm a Peter. Yeah. I'm the one that'll speak up. And I get it right every time, don't I?
Nope.
No. It only took 6 verses for Peter to mess this up. He went from a blessing to being chastised in 6 verses. Marianne, finish the story here. And we're going to pick this up at 21 to 23.
From that time on, Jesus began to explain to his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things at the hands of the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law, and that he must be killed and on the 3rd day be raised to life. Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. "Never, Lord," he said, "this shall never happen to you." Jesus turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me. You do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns."
And what is Jesus saying to him? You're in your flesh. You're in your emotion. You're actually working against my will. In 6 verses, you go from the hero to the zero. You can go from the Savior to the curse. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's what happens, and it's what happens. Now, on the surface, Peter was giving good advice. Lord, no. Because if Mary comes to me and says, "Jeff, I am to be crucified for the cause of the cross." No. God, Jesus died so we don't have to, so you can live, not die. You get it? I mean, that's kind of what it would be like. Whoa. Sometimes things that God asks us, God does not make sense. I promise we won't do that to you, okay?
Thank you.
See, Peter was responding out of his heart. And that's where, you know, the heart, we've been warned over and over and over, the Bible does, the heart can be deceitful of all things. The heart can cause us to step when we should stop, or to stop when we should step. It can cause us, that's why we can't be in the flesh. But I get it, we all get it, don't we? We're just like Peter. We're just like Peter. A lot of times we do not, if we're not operating in the Spirit, if there is no discernment, if there's no wisdom, if there's a lot of hurt in your life, you know, you can process it wrong. Or if I'm in a bad place myself and I give Willie advice, I give him all the wrong advice, thinking I'm giving him the right advice. It's only later that you would realize, you know what, that wasn't what I should have said. Yeah. See, God's will is an issue that I want to address. By the way, there is a reason for me doing this. I'm going to give you the reason here shortly. This lesson, okay? It's not what... God's will. Like Dabo. Man, we did all this work. We put in the time. We put in the effort. We're going to win this championship. With God, you always win. With God, you always come out on top. All except when you don't. Marianne gets from you. Well, I did all the work, I did all the studying, took the classes, I applied for the job, and I didn't get it. I thought if I'm in God's will, I would get it. In God's will, when you accept that God determines the outcome. But if you get caught up in the flesh, because you can love something. My mother, I loved her, but she was sick. You know, I'll tell you, I know about my story. She was mentally ill. She was mean. She was angry, and I loved her. I went to church. I prayed. I did what I was told to do to be a Christian. And, you know, and I honestly expected that my mom would get saved and be changed and we'd become a family again. That never happened. But because it never happened, does that mean God's not real? Does that mean God's will didn't happen? Right. What happens if you pray for somebody not to die and they die? The devil will start speaking in your ear right now. See, your God don't love you. See, you're not in God's will. This is how the enemy speaks. This is how he destroys our faith. And if we get into the habit of speaking these things or hurt into each other's life like that, we will destroy somebody else's faith or their walk with God. When we're called to build each other up. You know, God's will is sometimes when everything went wrong. Jesus died on the cross. It's not supposed to end that way. Jesus died. But it was exactly what was supposed to happen. You know, Paul did all the missionary journeys, started all the churches, wrote 2/3 of the New Testament. And what happened to him? Beheaded. Well, Paul, you must have been listening to the wrong guy, because God's will wasn't done. It actually was. He was just submissive and surrendered to it. And what happened, happened. I guarantee if you walk up to him today in heaven and you go, would you change a thing? No. Do you believe that was God's will for you to die like that? He goes, I don't ask God his will. I just surrender to what he's doing today. What about John the Revelator? The guy who wrote Revelations. You know what happened to him right before he wrote the book of Revelations? He was in exile, but what else happened to him? They boiled him. They put him a pot of boiling oil. When he had his visions, He was like third-degree burns over all parts of his body, if you want to think about it. But look what God did. Is that God's will? I don't know. But I know that God's will was accomplished because regardless of what happened in the circumstances, when your faith and trust is in God, it's going to work out the way it needs to. Okay? If you got the resolve to let it happen. Go back to when I started. The pursuit of a dream. I'm pretty sure Paul had a dream, a vision from God. I'm pretty sure John had a vision, a dream from God. I'm pretty sure Jesus had a calling, a vision from God. And here's the deal. No matter what comes, no matter what looks like a dead end, no matter what looks like it's evil, no matter where the attack comes from strangers, from this, from that, whatever stops you, here's the deal. God's got you. We're responsible is to obey. Even when it doesn't make sense to you, if you know God gave you a word, a calling, a purpose. The issue today is, man, a lot of people hear God's voice and I don't know where they hear God's voice. I don't tell them they don't hear God's voice because I don't know. But sometimes I wonder, don't you? You know, when a person comes to me and says, well, God told me to divorce her and to get rid of my kids and marry her and take care of her kids, I'm pretty sure you ain't listening to God. I mean, not sure. I'm not God's communicator. But I'm pretty sure that's not God. These are just things that happen in you. And the reason I say that, that's a pastor friend of mine. Dabo. Let's go back to Dabo. I ain't done telling this story. He grew up, his father was an alcoholic. They got homeless. When he went off to college, he had no home to go to. His mom was homeless. He was a walk-on the football team. He had to pay his way through college. He went to school, he went to practice, and then he went to work. Well, everybody else, after practice, is cutting up in the dorms, whatever. He's working to midnight. Come back in, only get up at 4 a.m. and do it again. Finally got put on scholarship. That really helped, you know. He only played like 8 snaps his entire career. He wasn't a big superstar. But he was pursuing a dream. That if you look, you come from the wrong family, you don't got the money, you don't got the athletic talent. Who are you to think you can be somebody? You get it? His mom was homeless, I told you that, right? You know where she lived at for a couple of years? With him, they shared the same bed in the dorm, wherever the apartment, whatever it is on campus. So when he gets up there and he says, all glory to God, if God can do this in my life, he can do it in your life. If you don't know the story, you don't know what he's saying to you. And I wonder why the voices want to keep his mouth shut. Because the first thing the enemy does, he takes away hope. But it didn't end there. He graduated. He was an assistant coach at Alabama, graduate assistant. And this wasn't working out good. Okay? So he got out of coaching for a couple of years and he was a real estate agent. Yeah. In March of 2003, he got a call from then Tommy Bowden, who was the coach at Clemson, saying, hey, I want you to be my receivers coach. Now here's what was going on behind the scenes, if you don't know what the thing is. People told Tommy Bowden that he was crazy for hiring a guy who had been out of coaching for 2 years. All right, people told Dabo he was crazy for joining Tommy Bowden on a sinking ship because the team just lost a bowl game by 55-15. You're going to a team that's losing, you're giving up your career, you're going to be a coach, that coach is going to lose his job next year, and you're going to be without a job. And where's your family going to be? All right? Things played out. He just knew he was told to go there. So he followed God. He was pursuing that dream. I want to be a coach. But not just anywhere for anybody who offered me a job. I got to go where God called me to. And even if it looks like a sinking ship, even if it looks like it's the wrong answer, even if it looks like everybody thinks I'm crazy, or I'm going to follow God. Well, talking about eventually loses his job. Dabo's just a wide receiver coach. He ain't been a head coach. He ain't been even a coordinator. And Terry Don Phillips walks into his office and says, Dabo, you're the coach. You got 5 minutes to get your head together, get your act together, and you're going to talk to, you're going to make some decisions right now. He was not ready for this. So he had to fire people that he loved immediately. He had to raise things. He had to pull everything together. Again, everybody thought Terry Don Phillips was crazy. Why don't you hire somebody who's not proven themselves, who doesn't have it, who hadn't got the experience, you just don't hand a Division I leadership to a coach, to a guy like Dabo. That is, unless there was something special in that guy. And Terry Don Phillips saw something special in him. And Terry Don and him both will tell you that it was God. And Dabo says, a person like me shouldn't be here. A school like us shouldn't be here. That if God can do it in my life, He can do it in your life. He's telling us something. Follow what God has entrusted you with. What did God entrust you with? A dream. A purpose. That you don't think can happen. And it's so easy to lose it. Because if things go wrong and you're still broken and hurt, you'll process it wrong. You'll make the wrong choices. The Dabo, what made Dabo, I think, the best for me is that even though his childhood was what it was, did you ever hear him once say, I hate the way I grew up? No, he thanks God for what he went through. He went through it with the right attitude. He went through it and was willing to work. He was willing to fight for what God put in front of him. Now that was a path for him, and it was ordained by God, but guess what he had to do? He had to put in the effort. When you pray, God, give me this, okay, He'll give you the opportunity to do that. Will you trust Him enough to walk through that door? Will you be committed enough to put in the effort, and the heart, and the tears, and the sweat, and the blood? Will you be so loyal to God that no matter what voice calls you off that wall, or tells you you're crazy, or tells you you can never do it, will you stay on that wall? That's Nehemiah. They come to Nehemiah and goes, you know, he was doing what they couldn't do. And because they couldn't do it, they tried to get him off the wall. So Sinbad and the rest of them, his buddies, come on down! Nehemiah wouldn't listen to him. No, the Lord told me to build this wall around Jerusalem. And that's what I'm going to do. Not just Nehemiah, but the people of the city. See, the people trying to call him off that wall have a motive. Doesn't matter what the motive is, whether it was good or bad. Maybe they just, but I do know the story. But in our lives, maybe that person is just a person who wants to make it easy. Oh, let's just make it easy on our children. Okay, you make it easy on your child, then you can have a child who will be dysfunctional later on because he don't know how to face adversity. You fight all your child's battles. You have a child who can't fight his own. If you're an overbearing parent, I'm going to tell you, I keep seeing this happen every week. If you're an overbearing parent, and you're driving your kids and you're controlling everything about them, they're not going to know how to have a relationship with the opposite sex. Listen to me. Their relationships will be dysfunctional. One more video. And this is what they show before the fourth quarter of every home. Going in between the third and fourth quarter of every home game. It's good stuff. This is Willie kind of stuff here. This is West kind of stuff. Fourth quarter, baby.
Oh, this is that fourth quarter video? Let's get it.
you something right now. They don't put championship rings on smooth hands. You gotta go earn it. You gotta go earn it 6 seconds at a time. You win championships when the stadium is empty, when the band ain't playing, when the cheerleaders ain't cheering, when it's just you and your brother right beside you. That's when you win championships. In the fourth quarter, that's when we shine.
And but they gave up a lot of yardage, to South Carolina. And there's a segment of fans and media. Oh, well, you gave up so many yards. It's almost like you lost the game even though you won it by 28. And I get it because I kind of felt that way too. Like, man, we want to crush him because you want to win, you want to crush. And so Dabo put he was in the room and he was addressing this with the media and the fans who were watching and the videos and the newspaper articles, and he pointed to on the side of the room is their team goals. Just happen to be in that room where they're having this meeting, this conference, and he says, championship? Do you see anything on that list of goals that says win the national championship? And people are kind of taken back by that. You don't have a goal to win the national championship? Everybody has that goal. And he wasn't there. He goes, no, that's not our goal. But the goals he did have, family, fight, heart, passion, pay the price, pay the grind, do this, do this, do this, do this. And the outcome, because you've done everything, the team's done everything, the coaching staff has done everything, the outcome is actually up to God. But we're going to do everything in our power to be there. And the outcome, whether we make it or we don't make it, we're okay with it. You get it? See, the world was trying to put their expectations on them. They're the one paying the price. They're the one in the fight. You guys get where I'm coming from? Okay. All right. When you're pursuing a dream, others will try to change your dream, put expectations on your dream, not understand it. They will critique it. They will criticize it. They will give it the one-over. They will put it through their dream for their life. They will process it through their filters. And that's when you got to know the voice of the enemy is actually trying to tear you down.
Yeah.
Where am I going with this? What I love about Dabo's story and the team story is they paid the price, put in the work. And Dabo says, God did this. God wrote this story. We didn't. And man, win or lose, he was happy with that. The team was happy with that. And one of the players, the voice, the face of the program has been Christian Wilkins, and he was the black guy that was crying like a baby. And he saw himself on the camera and go, I cry ugly. He did cry ugly. If you haven't ever watched this, dude, we know. But it was beautiful. And there were so many people talking about that. And people are like, we don't get Clemson. We don't get why those 3 players would have been first-round draft picks. Signing bonuses around $20 million, all 3 of them. Came back. We get it now. Do you see the love that they have for their coach? You see the love? You see that emotion? When God gives you something special, man, you love it. You fight for it. And you know what made that team really special? Because they've been in the trenches together. They've been fighting together. They've been misunderstood, criticized, beat down. Most of them come from backgrounds that, you get it, like Dabo. But they had something in them. And what they have in them is something that God put in them. And that's a dream. But they had to fight. They had to earn it. Not the salvation. As a Christian, I'm not telling you got to earn your salvation. What I'm telling you is that God will make straight the path. He will open the doors. He will give you the dream. But you and I got to stop listening to the voices that are not of God. You got to pursue that dream, all right? You got to have resolve. Because I'm going to tell you, it won't take you but 10 seconds to come up with 45 reasons that you can't do it. That it's not time. That it's not today. That I'll get to it later. Because that's me. Have I put everything I needed to into all that we're doing here? No. Has the devil been chipping away? Oh, yeah. Now, where am I going with this? I'm going somewhere else with everything we're talking about. I want to make sure, in the time we got left, I didn't know if I would even go here. I knew when I got to this point, the sermon was either over or it was not over. Okay? But we are trying to build something here. I listen to Christine. People don't feel loved. They got nowhere to go to. They've got nowhere for family at church. They've got nowhere to feel loved. I hear Willie say the things Willie said. I hear us say what we say. We know where people are at. We are trying to create something different. But here's the deal. You try to create something different and it does matter, oh man. Wait for everything to go wrong, because it will. Because if it's a true vision from God, everything will go wrong. The very people that you love can at times maybe not understand that. Willie's got the shirt on, don't bite the hand that feeds you. It happens, buddy. And if you're a true shepherd and you're following a true God, there's a they were willing to pay the price. What's going to happen when you get into what God has called you to do and it gets hard and people attack you for doing the very thing out of your heart, out of your spirit that you're doing, that God called you to, and it gets attacked. You got your hands, remember the Amos 3:12 I gave last week? You got your hands in the mouth of the lion. What happens when it's done with that lamb? It's going to come after you. There is a price that's going to be paid to follow God. And sometimes the very people who don't understand are the ones who should understand the most. And that's okay. But what I want to make sure with us right now is we're not confused by what I'm trying to do. And what I think we're trying to do. I want to make sure you know that vision as I see it. And I'm going to read it. And it's pretty simple here. Uh-oh. This is a quote by John Galbraith. He said, all the great leaders have had one characteristic in common. It was the willingness to confront unequivocally, thank you, the major anxiety of the people in their time. This and not much else as it's of leadership. If you're going to be that youth leader, if you're going to be that pastor, if you're going to be that counselor, if you're going to be that friend, if you're going to be that preacher, whatever it is, the calling on your life, in this day and time, to be the real thing, if you're going to change the world, you're going to have to face something. You're going to have to change something. Okay? And for me, being in church my whole life, not being understood, people not knowing how to love me, people who thought they were doing right by me, pastors who undermined ministries, all you want to do is love, and you're finding wall after wall and being crushed, being after crushed. So, well, what do you do with that, Jeff? Well, some people are called to change the world, and other people are just called to go along with the flow. And I saw something I needed to change. I saw something I thought God called me to change. What is that? That's the heart, focus, and face of ministry. Because we're not really doing it for the broken people. We're not really doing it for the hurting people. We're not doing it for the fatherless. We're not doing it for the widow. We're not even doing it for Christ. We're doing it for the show. Yeah. We're doing it, and the very people we're preaching to, if you let, now they shout an amen, they hallelujah, until something goes wrong, and then they have no faith.
That's right.
But then they're gone. Man, we haven't put the right kind of faith into them, and that's what I'm trying to say is, how do we build a faith into people? How do we build a passion into people? How do we go to a different level? Because I believe that's what God has called. And do I know that? I don't have those answers, guys. I know if we follow it today, the next step, Spirit lead me, bam, bam, bam. When we're done, the Spirit will have taught us something. Okay? That's what we're trying to do. Leading in a spiritual revolution, transform the heart, focus, and face of ministry in a broken world. If you don't admit the world is broken, if you can't admit the church is broken, if you can't read the stories that I give you time after time in Revelation 3 about the church of the end times that we're in, if I can't give you Jesus' own words about Christians in this day and time, and when they get to heaven, When we're telling them that you're once saved, always saved. Well, they're saying, if you just say this prayer, I get that. And if you do the things of God, God will be pleased. And then Jesus says, depart from me, I never knew you. I mean, I don't want that to be me. I don't want that to be you. I don't want that to be us. So God, what is it that you're trying to tell the church today that we can't hear? Or we're too blind to see? God, don't let that be us. Don't let that be me. There's the heart behind what I'm trying to do. And if you don't get my heart, you don't get me. You don't get it. And then when something happens, you misunderstand it. And I don't want us to have a misunderstanding. And that's why I'm doing this. Building spiritually passionate Christians. Mary Ann, what are you passionate about? Put her on the spot. I have no idea what's going to do. Mary Ann, what are you passionate about? Do you know? Do you really know what you really are passionate about? All right, here you go. I got a way. I got 2 questions that will answer that if you don't know how to answer it truly. And you might even have to go away and think about it. What makes you laugh or happy? I mean really happy, at peace happy. And what makes you cry? If you can answer both of them, you will find what you're truly passionate about. There's a lot of things, you get what I'm saying? So what are you truly passionate about? I was a throwaway kid that wasn't wanted, wasn't loved, thrown away, wasn't good enough. What am I passionate about? I'm passionate about people. But that passion doesn't come out of my hurt. Because I can do it out of my hurt. Mary and Shelley would tell you, if you do it out of your hurt, you're really trying to heal you. You ain't really helping them.
That's right. That's right.
But God will still use it.
Yeah.
God will still bless it. But that's part of the process of coming to, wait a minute. I got to deal with you, Jeff. I got to deal with you, Shelley. I got to deal with you, Catherine, Forrest, Marianne, Jeff, Chris. Because there's a cap. Okay, there's 2 caps. There's a cap of the voices in your head. And there's a cap that God has. And God don't have no cap. But if you let the hurt hang around, you let the pain hang around, you let the doubt hang around, you let the voices hang around, oh, you're going to stop right here.
Yep.
So how do we as a church set people free? Free for that to happen. That's the passion. God, how do we get to that? Not what your word says. How do I get people to your word? How do I get me to your word? How do these things come alive? Changing the heart, focus, face. Well, maybe what we're doing in church is just talking at people and people never change. So, Lord, okay, how do we really invest in people that they change? What can we change? So, I mean, I don't have to do church the way we're doing it. What we have to do is do the way the Holy Spirit's called us to do it. And I'm going to tell you, every pastor thinks I'm freaking crazy. Do not get too close. Do not get into their world. Be above them. Pull them up. I get that. I understand that. I get the transference that counseling don't take on their problems, and that's not it. The issue is that Jesus came alongside the disciples and invested and mentored and equipped and helped them rise. That's what I'm trying to capture. That's what I want the leaders here to do. But for us to be those, we gotta be led with Jesus step by step too. Where's your passion? Building spiritually passionate Christians who are engaged in influence and redeeming. And here's the deal, what is your faith worth? Seriously, Billy, give me a price tag. What's your faith worth?
A lot.
I need a number. Anna, what's your faith worth? How much?
You can't put a price on.
Yeah, you can.
The blood price.
Yeah, you can. If you think about it, oh, I'm making you think now. She loves it. See, Anna's always, she's got 2 looks. She goes from y'all seen that? Forrest has the same look all the time. You never know if he's plotting, if he agrees with you, or, you know, be careful when you get in your car, he might jump out and stab you. I don't know what you think. How much is faith worth? How much is faith worth, Chris? Give me a number.
Everything.
It's
No, there's a right answer. There's an answer. It's in the Bible.
It's worth as much as the first thing that makes you step away from
That's what
whatever
it's
God.
Hello. Say it again for us.
It's
Say
worth,
it!
it's,
Woo!
it's worth as much as the first thing that makes you step away from
That's
what
right.
God called you to do.
That's what I'm saying. Yep.
That's what I mean about his looks. I don't know what he's thinking.
We're just happy to see it.
Say it to me one more time.
Your faith is worth as much as the smallest thing that causes you not to do what God told you to do.
So if you're not passionate about God, not what he's called you to, but if you're not passionate about the Lord, when that thing hits, you lose it. You walk, or you quit, or you give up, or you get angry, just sit there. Been there? Done it? So it is worth something. Yeah, it's worth everything. I get it. But what I'm trying to do is teach us where the wall is that we hit, that we stop. And you know who knows where that wall is for you in your faith?
The devil.
The devil.
Yes, he does.
And you know who he knows how. You know who he's going to get to tear you down. First of all, he's going to tag you straight up, bam. But you know he knows your sore spot. Your mama, your daddy.
People closest to
He knows that hurt. He knows. He knows. Marianne had the ultimate answer. What'd you do when I said that? You pointed at yourself. Yeah, it's inside of you. It's inside of me. So that, I'm trying to get people passionate. I want to connect you to what, here's the deal. If you can find, if you and God can come together with that, what it is, you will be passionate about it. All right? And if you're passionate about it, you will be like Dabo. He's passionate about changing those kids' lives. How's he changing their lives? God. God's plan. Grace, mercy, family, unity. You earn it. You fight for it. Because God taught him that throughout his life. He's just taking what God gave him and instilling that, not for his gain, but for their gain.
That's right.
That's what I'm trying to do here. So when you find who you really are, I won't have to, hey, you should go witness to people. You should go read your Bible. You should go pray. When you find it, when you find him on that level, when he moves in your life like that, it's no longer a to-do list. It's absolute love. It's absolute passion. And you will change the world. You will. And you won't even know you're doing it. You know, there's some lady in the deodorant aisle at Walmart, you know.
Seriously, back to deodorant.
Yeah, we're back to the deodorant. That was pretty good. That's actually as far as I'm going to go. But I'm going to close. I love you. I love us. I love what God's taken us to. And you got to have resolve. Even if it isn't the enemy attacking you. Even if it's just, you know, you lost something or someone and it hurts. Well, that's okay. God knows that. Well, my dream, I can. Yeah, you can. Well, I have to go back to school. Okay. We'll be there with you. We'll pray for you. You got to fight the devil? Well, we'll fight the devil with you.
Yep.
It may sound like we're fighting you. But that's the path that I think I've chosen. And I'm going to tell you, Shelly will tell you, Forrest will tell you, Chris will tell you. You know. The only thing that really truly works is I surrender. I surrender. God, I don't got the answer. I don't know how to fix this relationship. I know. God, I don't know how to heal this hurt. God, I keep finding myself back at the same spot. This is my testimony. Maybe not yours. This is mine. But there's a day that God expects us to face it. People can be here a year, 2 years, and they realize one day, you want me to face my life? Yeah, that's what I've been preaching. That's how I preach it every week. When you first walk in, it's the greatest church ever. When when you won't face it, when you can't face it, when you refuse to face it, then something goes wrong, and then all of a sudden you're angry with it. You're judging me. No, I just want to bring us face to face with something, because the only way Dabo, his father's an alcoholic. He faced it. His mom did. He faced it. He went through the fire. And when you get through the fire, you'll be like Dabo, and I'll be like Dabo. We will carry people through the path that we went down, and we'll change the world. See, God is trying to teach us. God's trying to teach you right now how to change the world. But there's always that spot that you run into. There it is. So I'm gonna, and most of us, it's all tied to our self-esteem, our self-worth. We're not good enough. We're not smart enough. The world's told us we're not worthy. You know what? Can I be honest with you? We're not worthy, but He is. He was the sacrificial lamb. Your identity is Him.
Yes, it is.
And that song, I'm going to play that song that I played last week and this week. I actually didn't hear it. I've never heard that song until a couple weeks ago. I belong to you. I belong to Him. Whatever that word is. You know, that's who. I want you to hear this. I need you to hear this. Because I don't care. Your problems are not your identity. Your husband who won't do the right things is not your identity. The obstacles in your life are only there in the devil's mind and in your mind, because in God's mind they are not. It is a stepping stone to what He has for you. So that wall you're hitting, that is a stepping stone, baby. Stop running into it. Grab God's hand, and it will get you to where He wants to take you. And until you face that, until it becomes not a wall but a stepping stone, that's where you'll die every day, every time. So I'm just going to play a song. I don't know if you want to pray. I don't know if you want to sing this song. I don't know if you just want to get up and run. But I love you. I love what God's doing. And if nobody understands what I'm doing, I'm okay with that. And I want you to be okay with that. But there's only one place you're going to be okay with that, and that's when God makes peace in your life. Okay? I don't want you to go into work Monday and something happened and you give up and quit. But because it happened, Jesus come, and Jesus came, and God will deliver you, and He will walk through it with you. Right? Now sometimes God's going to tell you to leave, right? And all you got to do is say, yes, sir. I'm going to put on a song. Come up and pray for me.